important to have references. I think that's the way in which I've worked and progressed the quickest, is when I've got good quality tunes or drums and stuff to look at and analyze. Just through experimentation, you'll end up with a few good drums in, when you're starting off, and I save those to this folder. Over time, sounds 2019 in this case, which obviously has quite a lot in it. But when I'm building a new kick, I like to have a reference point, so I know what it looks like in its waveform, I know what frequency ranges it hits, all that kind of thing. So let's look at our reference. You can see that kind of slope down there, loud transient at the start. It's a little bit more acoustic sounding than our synth one, but still, it's working quite nice. So I'm going to walk you through what I've done with the separate components. I'm going to put the bottom end in yellow and the top end in blue. So I'm going to start with the yellow. I'm actually going to rebuild this from scratch. I think it's a slightly better way to learn, to kind of walk through the steps rather than work backwards, but I just want to have this set up to begin with as a frame of reference. So, kick 2 is a really, really nice drum synth. The parts we will be using the most are pretty much just the amp and pitch. And let's just have a look at what our low end's doing. So we're getting a sine wave, which is here. I've turned off everything. I've muted all these click modules, which just add in samples and stuff, which are useful for making more interesting drums, but we're going to do that in the transient layer rather than with the low end body part. So this pitch graph is going to control the envelope of the pitch, as you can imagine. Amp is obviously going to control the volume envelope. They can be a little bit confusing. We want to focus on what we're seeing here rather than where the nodes are, because as you can see, I'm telling it to sustain at full volume and then dip off here, but the resultant waveform doesn't actually kind of copy that. So we're going to, on the amp setting at least, bear in mind what's going on here. So we want something that is if we look at our reference, it sustains at full volume for a short amount of time and then dips off very quickly. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll actually write in an automation into the kick with like a utility or something to make sure that it's only ever going to be as long as I want it to be, something like that. So let's just create a new synth patch then. So if I press Ctrl Shift T, hopefully I'll get a new MIDI channel.